GPU company that nobody expected has now entered the arena to compete against the likes of Intel, AMD, and Nvidia. Streamlabs is in some hot water over what they told you not to do in college, and Apple doing what everybody's been yelling at them to do. Let's get into the hot news, everybody. I'm your host, Brett. We're going to be going over the hottest tech news that I can find on the internet while you enjoy your breakfast. Had a few people in yesterday's comment section saying, I'm driving home from work. How do I have breakfast? It doesn't matter. If you're watching hot news and consuming a meal, it is therefore breakfast. I've gone over this a million times. I guess because we're back on the main channel, you need to just be eased into this, which is fine. But breakfast, hot news go together. Like shubop, shawada, wada, wada, ba ding da dong. And what should go together in your mind when it comes to what GPU should I buy? Maybe considers China's Silicon company, who's releasing the, I'm gonna butcher this pronunciation, I'm gonna try my best, Shindong Fenghua GPU, which is gonna have all of the kit and caboodle that you could possibly think that you would want in a regular GPU. The Fenghua #1 is supposed to be a multi-chiplet GPU, which is what we're expecting out of Nvidia and AMD on their next generation. It's gonna have GDDR6X, which is only on the RTX 30 series right now, and even that the highest end ones. And it's going to have PCI Express 4.0. It's going to have DisplayPort 1.4. It's going to have HDMI 2.1. But, okay, zoom in on the camera, Catlin. One of the most important things that it has that has been kind of absent from all of these Chinese GPU companies that have been spinning up lately is API support. A lot of them only have something like OpenGL support, not having the whole gamut for you to be able to play your video games. This one is different. This one, I don't know if we should be excited about it, but I am. It actually supports DirectX API in addition to Vulkan, OpenGL, OpenCL, and OpenGL ES. Now, this is just coming out from this press release from Silicon showing off that yes, this GPU does exist, but very limited on the amount of specs and the actual details and performance numbers that we could be expecting. And the company even going so far as to say that this is likely meant to be for servers rather than gamers. But the fact that it also supports DirectX has it now in a new level of competition where that could potentially be a really good card for gamers if all of the other specs seem to plan out. So you can see here it says China's first high-performance server-level card, support data center, server graphics rendering, AI intelligent computing, support new infrastructure, 5G cloud rendering, cloud gaming, cloud mobile phone, cloud office, support embedded 1R and VR, smart cockpit, industrial computer, meta, universe. So basically every single buzzword that you could ever think when it comes to a gaming GPU. But we are getting competition in the market. Intel is supposed to be making their discrete GPU debut in the next coming months. Silicon bringing out this one could bring a lot of competition to the Eastern market, which could potentially put pressure on the likes of Nvidia over there, where they have to actually innovate and not just release GTX 1060s with 5 gigabytes of VRAM to all of the gaming cafes that are there, but actually release something that matters. We could see rippling effects through the entire consumer industry the more that we get legitimate competition entering in. Let me know what you think of this GPU down below in the comments. I'm going to tell you what I want to play with my GPU at the current moment. Hellblade finally getting a PC update. It's got its Xbox Series update that came out several months ago, and now Ninja Theory actually bringing that out to the PC. So it has level of detail improvements, ray tracing, shadows and reflections, as well as having DLSS and AMD's FSR support. I still haven't played this game. I really want to. I have it on Xbox Game Pass. I should probably just dive into it. I don't know what's been holding me off. It's supposed to be an amazing game. I need to check it out sometime soon. And you can check out cloud streaming on your Xbox console sometime soon because Xbox is announcing that they are rolling that out as of yesterday, with it being available in 25 different regions. This is great for anybody who has an Xbox One S but wants to play at Xbox Series X fidelity and frame rate. They can now get that with xCloud Gaming streamed directly to their One S, provided that they have an internet capability good enough for that. And are we good enough for the Cryptostonks update? All right, I want to hear legitimate feedback because I've been hearing some people say, hey, I really hate this update. Why do you include it? And I include it, number one, because I want to know what the prices of these crypto meme stonks are on a day-to-day basis, just to see where they're trending rather than trying to go into a deep dive, which is why I provide a very brief, this is usually the shortest segment of every single hot news of me covering two of the major cryptocurrencies, one meme cryptocurrency, and then two of the meme stonks. And so I want to hear from you. Do you like Cryptostonks as an actual update, or would you prefer that it got done away with, which I do it for the same reason that I started doing hot news. I want to stay up to date, and the easiest way for me to do that is to communicate it to other people. So here we go. Cryptostonks update. Bitcoin up ever so slightly, 1.8% to just cross over the 60,500 threshold. Ethereum up roughly the same amount to be at 42.6269. It's wow, you had the possibility for greatness, Ethereum, and you just threw it all away. Dogecoin up also that minuscule amount to be at 23.7 cents. Looking at the meme stonks, GameStop up 1% on the day to be at 209.34. But as always, most important thing when reviewing meme stonks, enlarged prostate, do this immediately, try tonight. You have no other options. No other choices. AMC down less than 1% to be at 42.23. But now let's go ahead and talk about some currency wars that are potentially going on. Not so much currency, but payment processing, which is one of the things that cryptocurrency is supposed to alleviate. But I could potentially envision a dystopic world where actually instead of having cryptocurrencies that are decentralized amongst the people, they're actually decentralized amongst companies, and you can only use a given company's cryptocurrency in order to purchase stuff from them, especially when they're as large as Amazon, and then they just say to the entire of Visa, hey, we're not going to use you anymore, especially in the UK, because ever since Brexit has taken place, the interchange fees of processing UK credit cards over to the EU, which is where Amazon UK's processing facility is, has gone up from 0.3% to 1.5%, which is something Amazon no longer wants to deal with. However, the curious thing is MasterCard also has this, but Amazon hasn't dropped MasterCard, only Visa, and again, only in the UK as of right now, with Amazon saying that UK shoppers can still use their Visa and debit and credit cards at Amazon UK today and throughout the holiday season, but the credit cards are going away come January 2022. And one of the speculations behind why Amazon's not dropping MasterCard is number one, they could have potentially struck a private deal with MasterCard to lower those fees, or more conspiratorially, Amazon's credit card in the UK is a MasterCard and not a Visa, and so they can just get all of the money from that. And if they ban Visa credit cards, then you can't use them anymore, and then they get all of the money. But it couldn't be that. It would never be money driven. No, not in the slightest. Speaking of not being money driven, let's talk about the issue that's going down with Streamlabs, which is a company that has been around in the streaming scene for quite some time. They've done things such as payment processing when it comes to viewers wanting to tip their streamers, as well as introducing their own version of open broadcast software known as Streamlabs OBS. However, it doesn't look like they had the permission from OBS to actually use the name, even though it is open source. OBS asked them not to do it, amongst a whole bunch of other stuff. So Streamlabs debuted an Xbox streaming platform so that you could stream directly from your Xbox. It was their big hullabaloo. But then a company called Lightstream, who offers a similar solution to that problem, says, hey, can I copy your homework? Yeah, just change it up a bit so it's not obvious. And then if you look at the websites for both Lightstream and Streamlabs' launch of their Xbox service, it is not just one-to-one on sections. You can see how it's broken down very similarly. It's also one-to-one on words. They use roughly the same language in the entire thing, everything completely in order, and also taking reviews from Lightstream's actual page to show how people are enjoying their service, which just happened to launch, which then led to other companies piling on, including the likes of OBS, saying near the launch of Streamlabs OBS project, saying we reached out to them about not using the OBS name, saying that they did so anyways, and followed up by filing a trademark. We've tried to sort this out in private, and they have been uncooperative at every turn, with OBS continuing to say legally they've obeyed the terms of the GPL, but they have repeatedly disregarded the spirit of open source and of giving back. So there's no legal action that they could take. There's just kind of, hey, this is a jerk move by Streamlabs, with a lot of the reaction being like Jack Spadici saying, really thought they were associated with you guys in just a different version. Thank you for your software. It's revolutionized the way so many of us do our jobs. I actually thought the exact same thing. Streamlabs OBS was a derivation of OBS rather than something just done on the side, and they slapped the OBS name onto it, which then led to Elgato jumping in and indicating that Streamlabs may have copied them from their Stream Deck name, as well as their Streamlabs Stream Deck control platform that allows you to control your stream from your phone. In response to this, streamers and content creators who are affiliated with Streamlabs have asked that they resolve this before that they get taken off of their platform, and they'll find another streaming application to use. So it does seem like the community is against Streamlabs on this one. Logitech probably probably didn't think that they were buying all of this drama when they purchased Streamlabs for a lot of money a few years ago. Streamlabs responding to each of these complaints against Lightstream, saying we made a mistake. Text on the landing page was a placeholder text that went into production by error. This is our fault. We removed the text as soon as we found out. Our intended version is now live. Lightstream team is great, and we've reached out directly to them to apologize, which a lot of people have responded saying thank you, Streamlabs, but other people have pointed out, like, you copied reviews. You didn't even like, it wasn't just one for what, like, you went into their reviews and like got stuff and then put it in there as a placeholder, which doesn't seem to actually provide good faith towards the company. Also, Streamlabs responding to using the name of OBS, saying we are taking immediate action to remove OBS from our name. Streamlabs OBS is built on top of the OBS open source platform, which we all know. Streamlabs OBS is also open source and our code is publicly available. We take responsibility for our actions and we will support the community. Is this the response that you want to see from a company, or is this too little too late from them? I'm curious to hear what your perspective is on the Streamlabs OBS saga that's going on. A lot of people indicating that this is something that Streamlabs has actually been known for in the community, of kind of just openly ripping off and plagiarizing the way everybody else does things and then making it look like it's theirs and they made it. You made this, here I made this. Let me know your thoughts on that down below. I'll also let you know that Tidal now has a free tier which you can get ad supporting in case you want to do that. It doesn't support the hi-fi audio, but in case you like Tidal but you don't want to pay for it, that's now an option available to you. And now Apple is giving us more options as end consumers to repair our devices, with them coming out with their self-service repair program that will initially debut and allow users to repair their iPhone 12s and iPhone 13s. With them also saying that Mac computers featuring the M1 chips should be soon to follow, and right now they're going to focus on shipping out batteries, displays, and cameras at first so that you can repair them, as well as sending out the tools to people who want to do this as well. Saying that the store will offer over 200 individual parts and tools, most of which are used to repair Apple smartphones, and saying that the service is for individual technicians with the knowledge and experience to repair electronic devices, but the majority of people should take this to an actual repair technician because you could potentially break it. So this does seem to be a great move by Apple, who has seemed to be continuously against people's ability to repair their own devices, or even have access to the parts to repair their own devices, or even have access to the schematics to know how to repair their own devices, so that when you actually have your device, it's not really yours. It's up to Apple whether or not they're going to allow you to use it after it breaks. And obviously one of the biggest proponents of the right to repair legislation that's going on and the conversation that's been taking place is Louis Rossmann, and he's made a video about all of this, saying that he's not going to necessarily hold his breath, which I would encourage you to check out down below in the sources. But he essentially says that he's not going to hold his breath. Apple has done this publicity stunt before, where they did this for certified third-party repair companies, and essentially they locked everybody down under NDA. They only made it so that you could repair the cameras, the screens, and the batteries, but neglected everything else, especially things that could commonly break on a smartphone, such as the charging port, which is a very common part that actually does go under. So while there is hope that Apple might be changing their tune, there also is some hesitancy because they've done this before to get out of legislation, which is something that 9to5Mac has in this opinion piece, that Apple's PR fails as the company waits until forced to act over right to repair, essentially that they could have done this a lot sooner, and they're only doing it now because there's likely going to be legislation that's coming out sometime soon, and instead of actually having to have that legislation implemented, they do something that's public facing, saying, here, we fixed the problem, you don't need to enact any laws, we will never do this again. But then, as Louis Rossmann points out, by the time that the program actually gets implemented, there's less support, or less transparent support, than Apple promised initially. So essentially we just have to wait until Apple launches this to see, are they doing the right thing, or are they just covering their butts? And honestly, both of those aren't mutually exclusive ideas. Apple can do the right thing by covering its butt. It's just the wrong motivation, which makes them not as appealing as a company to respect, if that's the motivation behind why they're rolling out this program. But what do you think of Apple's self-service program? I want to hear from you down below in those comments. And down below is where I'm going, because this episode of Hot News is over. So now I have to lay down and get out of frame, and I'll see you tomorrow for breakfast, my friends. Cheers. I didn't go to hell, I just laid down, I promise.